Hello, this is Danny. I'm going to show you how to track phone calls in Google Analytics by using CallRail. So I have a couple other videos where I already showed how to set up phone call tracking on the website and the Google My Business listing. So now this is the second part of showing how to get that data into Google Analytics. So under the Settings tab, you'd click on Google Analytics and you'll type in the domain name here and the Google Analytics ID. So in Google Analytics, you can find this information under the settings. Let me see here. So this is the one we're using, Tracking info, tracking code, and it's going to show you the tracking ID. So you would type in the domain name and the tracking ID and click activate. Now I have connected Google Analytics in the past already in my account for other clients. So this screen is looking different for me. So when you go to set up Google Analytics, you're going to click on Google Analytics and follow the steps to connect your analytics account, and then you have to choose which tracking ID you want the data sent to. So this has been connected. So now what's going to happen is when a phone number from your tracking pool or from the Google My Business gets called, it's going to be sent into Google Analytics as an event. So events are great. That's what we want. And we can see this information under RealTime and under the Events tab. Let's go ahead and give it a try here. So let's see this number here. And it's ringing. All right, so I've called and let it ring a few times. So we're gonna go ahead and wait for this data to come into Google Analytics. Now, what's interesting is CallRail sends the data via the measurement protocol. So this could be delayed by several minutes, maybe 10 minutes or so. So we'll go ahead and see when this happens. All right, so I fast forwarded a little bit here. So we can see that the phone call did end up coming through. You can see that there was one event. So the event category is called phone with capital P, and the event action, they will basically say incoming call via this tracking number, right? So I have this documented in Bring Home the Bacon that the category is phone, the action is going to say, what tracking number was used, and then the name of it, which in that case was Google My Business. And then the label even shows, it won't show the caller's phone number, but it will show the area code. And then it shows how many times they have called. Is this their first call, second call, or third call? So you will be able to see all this data in Google Analytics. Like I said, the RealTime tab is where you can see it recently happening. After this has been processed, it'll start showing up under Behavior, Events, and you can see it in the Overview tab. Now, there's nothing here right now because this Analytics account is brand new, but it will take about 2 days for the data to start showing up here. Google Analytics is, I think, delayed by 2 days. So after a while, you'll start checking here in your report and you'll be able to see phone calls by the event category, the action, and the label, which I've documented here for you guys. So that's good news that the data is coming through. But what if you want to pick certain events and say that those are important goals? That's where you can actually count them as conversions. So right now when you go to, where is it at? RealTime Events, that event hit, and if we click conversions, nothing happened. So the one up here, don't get confused, the one means is a user on the site, not how many conversions happened. So now that the event is being sent, we can tell Google, hey, anytime an event comes through that has the category of phone with a capital P, we want to count that as a phone call. So we can do that by clicking on the settings in Google Analytics and then clicking on goals and creating a new goal. So what we want here is we're going to scroll down to custom and click continue and then name the goal. So let's say it's a phone call. The goal slot is assigned automatically. You don't need to worry about that. And then we click event. So we're telling Google when this event happens, we want to call it phone call as a goal. So now we click continue and it gives us these options to fill in and hopefully they look familiar. Category, action, label. So what we're going to do is say anytime phone with a capital P comes through, that's a phone call. It has to be equal to phone. Now the action and label, we're just going to leave that blank. So then we'll click save. And so that's going to track all phone calls coming through. So now we can also go track a new goal, click custom, continue, and we could say we just want to track first time callers. Sometimes clients really are interested in this. And so we'll click event again and choose category is phone. But if you noticed, as I showed here, the label includes how many times they've called, 1, 2, or 3. So in this label field, we want to say only include category equals to phone, label regular expression has, let's say, call 01. So only the first calls. So that we do that by, like I said, category phone, leave action blank, and label. We have to switch this to regular expression. And then we would copy and paste this. And the period star means basically there can be anything before the words call -01. So if you notice here, the label has a bunch of information first and then it says call -01. So that's what regular expression is doing, is allowing us to do that. So we'll click save. So now we can see all phone calls and then we can segment first time callers. Then I like to do this just because repeat callers. And then click event again because there's events coming in that we want to basically say if it meets these requirements, it counts as a repeat caller. So the category once again is phone, the action's blank, and then the label we're going to do another regular expression. Basically this is going to say anytime the label does not contain call 01. That's basically what we're trying to say here. Because if it does not contain call 01, it obviously contains call 02, 03, 4, 5, 6 to 99 or whatever, right? So we want to count anything but the first call. So then we would paste that in there just like this. Label, regular expression, and then this code. Click save. So now we have 3 different types of phone call goals that we can use in reports for clients. And if we want to test them to make sure they're working, we can see once again the event can come through, but we'll also see a conversion come through here. So let's test this out. I'm going to go ahead and call the Google My Business number again. And I'll let it ring about 3 times. All right, so that second phone call, we can see it finally hit. Took about 5 minutes. So we can see the event category is phone. And now we're going to click on conversions to see if those new conversion goals we set up are showing up. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way. All right, so it looks like it did work. So now we can see out of the 3 goals we set up, 2 of them were fulfilled. So the phone call, which catches all phone calls, counted 1 call, and repeat callers counted once because I did call earlier. So since I already called once, CallRail sent this over as call number 2. So that's why it was counted under here. So when you're doing your reporting, you can include all phone calls, or you could segment it out for your clients to show, first time callers generally are the new callers. But that's only, this number is going to be artificially inflated for the first few months that you're using CallRail because everybody is a first-time caller, even if they've called the business 100 times in the past. But now you're using call tracking, they're all going to show up as first-time callers, so be mindful of that. But moving forward, after this data, like I said, takes 2 days to start showing up in the actual Google Analytics reports, you will view that information under Conversion Goals Overview here, eventually. So that's it. That's how you can set up call tracking, right? CallRail, you can see the data in Google Analytics and now share that information with your clients.